Hey there, everybody. I had a request to do a video of the Hunter Original installed in my room, so here you go. Once again, this is my 52-inch 4-blade Hunter Original in antique brass, and it was made sometime in the 1990s, not quite sure when. There's a way that you can tell on the tag, either on the side of the motor or the top of the motor, I'm not really sure. And there's like a code or something that says the date, but I'm not quite sure which tag it's on or what number it is. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. But it clearly was made in the 1990s because it has the Hunter tag up there. The Hunter since 1886, building the best for 100 years. And I oriented the tag towards the door, as you can see. So walk in the room and you can see the Hunter tag. And once again, and there it is. So, and then I got those other two tags that the Restore had put on it. I just scrubbed those off the motor housing, so that was easier. Now, so I installed this, I think, about a week ago because I did get a new downrod for it. The old downrod, as you saw in my other video, was way too long. It would have hung down to like here if I had put it on there. And so I went up and got a 3-inch by 3/4-inch galvanized steel pipe with threads on both ends, and it works perfectly fine. So I think it's gonna stay that way. There's a better view of it right there. You can see I just attached it to the double claw up there, and then the other side to the top of the motor housing, just like a normal downrod would. Now, it's not a Hunter downrod, so it's not brass, or it's not antique brass, it's not finished. But it is just a gray color. It doesn't really bother me. I can't really see it. I can't really tell. But for those of you who want to see, really quickly, here's the old downrod. You can see that would have hung down. Yeah, the fan would have hung down here, and that is way too low. I would not be able to walk in my room. So, anyway, I still need to get a classic original Canopy in antique brass. Right now I'm still using that vaulted ceiling Canopy, and it doesn't look bad, but it just looks kind of weird. The proportion is really off. That Canopy just looks too small. And also it causes the fan to wobble a bit and shake and sway like this sometimes. So, well, that doesn't really bother me that much. I just really think it would look better with a classic original Canopy with the two halves, and it would come down to here and it would look so much better. Also, I think that if I get that Canopy, that might stop it from wobbling and shaking and swaying back and forth when the fan is running. But I haven't been able to find one on eBay, or for that matter, one in antique brass, because I did hear that this finish is semi-rare. So, and once again, there's the top of the motor. You can see the tag right there, and then there's the Hunter tag on the side again. So yeah, I did put the schoolhouse kit on it. This was the schoolhouse kit that used to be on the Delta 2, because I put the beveled glass kit that came on it originally on the Delta 2. I'm still thinking about installing that fan in my parents' room. I'm still trying to get my mom to let me put it in her room, because her Berkeley is still making awful noises, and it would be really great if I could put that in her room. So yeah. I did fill it up with oil, so I have been running it with oil. I know someone had told me that it is very bad to run the fan without oil, and it was a bad thing for me to do in my other video of when I tested it in the shed. But don't worry, because I have filled it up with oil. You can see the oil residue on the side of the switch housing / oil cup / nose column, whatever you want to call it. And But the problem is that the oil residue is kind of like dripping down. There was like a bunch on the schoolhouse kit right here. But it doesn't really bother me. I mean, I just take a paper towel and wipe it off. It's probably just because of the way the fan is shaking or whatever. There's also some paint on the blades still, like there, and this is the really bad paint. I got some of the paint off the Canopy. The paint is still on the blades. I don't know what I said was, whoever had painted this in the old house that it used to be in before I got it, whoever had painted this, I would have not wanted them to paint my house. They just slapped paint all over that Canopy and on the blades. There's some drips on the top of the blade, which don't really bother me that much, but still. Also, you notice I took the flower basket pull chain extension and put it on the schoolhouse kit. I don't know why, I just kind of like it, because this pull chain extension is original to this fan, and the other chain extension I just didn't even touch. Is that simple bell, and it has the Hunter breakaway connector, and of course there's the reverse switch, which is upside down for some odd reason, not quite sure why. I was gonna flip it over around the other side, but then I realized you can't, because there's like a little T shape at the top that keeps it in the little, it keeps it in this little holder up there. So I don't know what happened. Maybe it was a mistake at the factory, or maybe somebody had fooled with it sometime in the past, not quite sure why. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first show it to you on the speed control speeds with the pull chain on the fan set to high. And then I'm going to show you it on the factory speeds with the speed control set to high. The wall control, that is. So I'll show you the light kit first. So there's the light kit. I just think Hunter Originals with schoolhouse light kits look really, really good. Considering that one of the first originals I ever saw had a schoolhouse kit. And I just really like the way they look. They look so antique and old-timey. Just really takes you right back to the early 1900s, when these fans were really common in like restaurants and places like that. So, and then of course you can dim the light. Turn that off. So now let's start it up on high speed. You can see it torques up a little bit, but that's okay, it doesn't really bother me. So there's high speed, and the airflow is just amazing. I love this fan so much. As you can see, it is wobbling a little bit. It wobbles actually worse on medium speed for some reason. Medium speed control, that is. This wobble isn't that bad, it's just shaking a little bit, just like that. I guess I'll show you with the light on while it's running on high speed. Of course, I forgot to mention this fan does have the Hunter classic oil bath motor with the big rotor. This is opposed to the skeletal oil bath motor that they use now, that in the originals that are made in China. The old style was much better because it was bigger, it was just more powerful, and it was made in America, which is a very good thing. So now we'll turn it down onto medium speed on the wall control. You can see once again it torques a little bit. That's another thing that these fans do. They have a lot of torque. So when you turn it on, they kind of twist. That's one of the reasons you can't really mount these on ball and socket, because they might twist out of the ball. Of course, you can mount them on ball and socket, I just wouldn't. So medium speed on the wall control goes really slow for some reason. Not quite sure why. It might have something to do with how heavy the motor is and the really big rotor inside, but it's more of a fast, low speed. Well, not really fast, but as you can see, it is wobbling a bit worse on this speed. Not quite sure why, again. I did try to balance it. The balancing did help, but it still wobbles, so I don't know, it doesn't bother me that much, as long as it doesn't fall and kill me in the middle of the night, which it hasn't so far. But I'm keeping my eye on it. It's actually a pretty nice speed. This would be a good low speed. It does blow a bit of air. It's blowing some air. It does a good job circulating the air around my room, so I like it. And then of course we'll show it to you with the light kit on. And back to the other side where the lighting's a bit better. The lighting isn't the best today because it is cloudy outside. I feel like I haven't seen the sun in weeks. It's been cloudy for like the whole second half of this week, and it's just awful. Okay, and down to low speed. Low speed goes really slow in the speed control, which is something I really like. I know most fan collectors like really slow low speeds, and I am one of those people. Slow low speeds are just really good. Really nice and aesthetic. They kind of, they do circulate the air, but they kind of are more decorative purposes. That's why most restaurants have the fans spinning on a really slow low speed. There you go. That's about how slow it goes. And as you can see, it is going quite slow. And I could even make it go even slower by putting the speed control and the pull chain on low. Except I haven't tried it yet, but because I'm worried that it might stall out or damage the motor. But there it is with the light kit on. And then there's the other side. And then we'll turn it off. And I'm gonna stop it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the fan off, the pull chain off, and I'll put the speed control all the way up to high. So, stop it, I'm shaking for a second. So now, let's start it off on low this time. This is low on the fan pull chain, of course. We are now doing the speeds, the factory speeds. Yeah, this low goes a little bit faster than the speed control low, but a little bit slower than the speed control medium. This is this is in between. Yeah, this is in between the two speed control speeds that I just talked about. This is a pretty good low speed though, I like it. And then, oops. There it is with the light kit on. Sorry for the shakiness there. I was holding it with one hand while I flipped the switch. Okay, now turn the light kit off and bring it up to medium. So there's medium, and as you can see, that is a good medium right there. The other medium with the speed control was just way too slow. That's a real medium there. It's not wobbling too bad on this speed, actually. It's actually, it's almost not wobbling at all. Very slight shaking, but overall it's not wobbling at all. This fan is very quiet. I forgot to mention that. These are known as the best fans ever made, by the way. So, even the ones in China, that are made in China these days, are even better. And it is quiet, but you can't really hear it because my dad's outside mowing the lawn. But give you a good motor shot right there. And you can see straight up through the motor housing right to the top, which is something that the later Chinese ones didn't have, I don't think, because the skeletal motor was smaller and you couldn't really see it because the windings moved away. I'm going to shut my window to see if you can. I'll let you hear it, and you hear absolutely nothing. The only sound you hear is the sound of the air moving. So, very quiet, very good fans. I'll turn it up to high, which of course is the exact same thing as the speed control high. It actually is the speed control high. And once again, you don't hear anything except for the loud rushing of the wind being circulated throughout the room. Also, while the fan is, of course, I mentioned the oil bath system that this fan has. I didn't explain how that works. There's the bearing sits, hang on, let me turn it off for you. Just shut it off. I already spun it down in my last video, so I'm not going to do a spin down. I think I spun it down in my last video. I'm not sure about that, but I'm not going to do a spin down. Goodness. Is this off? Oh no, this is on medium. That's why it was taking forever to stop. Never do that, by the way. Never stop a fan with your hand while it's running. That can hurt your hands, and it can also damage the motor and the capacitor. So, the oil bath system that this fan has, the bearing sits down here in the oil cup / switch housing / nose column. And the oil is actually filled up inside of this cup all the way to up to about, I think, here, all the way up to the top. When you turn the fan on, from what I can understand, the centrifugal force draws the oil up to the top, and there's like a spiral groove on the shaft that holds the rotor in place. There's a spiral groove which allows for the oil to go up to the top, and that lubricates the shaft and the other vital parts of the motor. Once it gets to the top, it falls back down again and just keeps recirculating through that. And I'm not quite sure if that's how it works. That's from what I've read and heard about. I'm not exactly sure that that's how that works, but I know that it does get recirculated throughout the shaft, back down to the bearing and up again, all the way around inside of the rotor and shaft assembly. Well, not inside the rotor, but like inside the shaft and the bearing. And the recirculation inside also recirculates the oil so that the bearing is constantly getting fresh oil. So that bearing is basically sitting in oil right now, so it's completely silent. So, once again, I'll show it to you with the light kit on and off. Is there anything else? Let me think. I don't think so. If anyone has a classic Canopy with the 2 halves in antique brass finish, I'd be willing to buy it from you. I really need one right now, so anyway, other than that, thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your day.